On this week, I'm gonna start this episode off with the Bobbi Althoff podcast finally coming to an end. And honestly, the number one takeaway that I have is I believe the most fun, the most exhilarating, the most exciting job in the entertainment field is being an industry plant, because of the fact that she was able to skate by off of a very average yap session to turn into a multi-million-dollar company is the goal. That sounds so fantastical. I'm not going to lie to you. And my thing is, you know what? The first time I heard about the Bobbi, the Very Good podcast, it was a Drake episode, like majority of individuals, and the fact that it was so shrewd and conceptually set up in a way where she didn't really have to do majority of the heavy lifting, because she was always going to have fantastic guests that are able to, actually, not just fantastic guests, entertaining guests. I am very surprised that she was consistently able to get such these A-list celebrity after A-list celebrity after A-list celebrity. And at first, they wanted to give. They were actively doing some of the yapping, which I don't really find as popular when they're on other people's shows, right? And as I'm watching, because of when the Drake one first dropped, that wasn't even the main crazy guest that she had when it first started off. Let me read out some of the guests before the Drake one. We all know the Funny Marco one is the Funny Marco interview is the one that really like set her across par. Like right now it's probably around like 5 million, 6 million views already, right? And that was just 2 years ago. And the fact that, you know, I'm gonna take a couple steps back. I want to talk about the aesthetic that she was driving in. Let me do a little background, a little context. So she started off as like a mommy blogger, mommy TikToker, and she was able to create such an inviting environment that she was able to generate like a couple million followers just on TikTok in of itself. And then one day she was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pivot. She was able to get signed by one of the biggest entertainment companies, or at least entertainment PR folks in the industry, the same people that represent people like Keke Palmer and on and on and on. And she was killing it. They're like, okay, we found a person that we're gonna prop up and go. But her main stylistic conversational piece was the way that she was able to be dry and definitely like a straight leg type of comedy was the idea of the show. If y'all are familiar from the Funny Marco show, she ends up going on Funny Marco first, and then she comes back and then starts this podcast. The podcast just goes crazy with Funny Marco being the first, well, not the first one. I think it was like third or fourth in the list. And then after that, it just blew up. It just skyrocketed, because after that was the Drake episode, and then all the controversy. Didn't they do any crazy things? And then it really came out that she had this love, this in I don't want to say essential, this existential need to be famous and rich. Like even when she first started the show, actually no, not when she first started, when she was going on other people's shows talking about why she was doing this show in the first place, she was like, oh, I mean, I knew I was always supposed to be rich. Because when I was a kid, I just knew that I was going to be making at least 300,000, and that's just something that I deserve. That's the life that I need to live. And you know what? Hey, if you want a fantastic life for yourself, go enjoy it. Go eat. And the Vape video that really the Vape video that really detached me from her whole like persona, because of like, I am pro saying the dumb part out loud so we know where you stand, but there's something about her being like, oh yeah, no, I'm only doing this for the bread. That was like, well, at least be talented. At least be a little talented. That was my thing. At least throw some jokes in there. But hey, that's not the main point of this video. I came on here to hate. I came out here to just hate a tad, a joyous amount, because of, I remember, if for some of y'all that have been watching, I made a video like 2 years ago in Colorado when she first like blew up, right? And I was thinking to myself back then, I was like, I don't see the appeal. And then as I'm watching, I'm like, I remember when I was first watching, right? The main thing that you can get off is dry humor, crash, maybe a little boring, but the main thing is it's relatable enough to the mass audience that they're able to step into her life and be able to like watch her have these conversations with people that y'all will never have the ability to talk to, but it's still fun because you get to be like, oh my god, they're so fun, and you get to ask like all these like different questions. And one of the main ones that blew me, it felt like she was using the reach of fame to overcome everything else in her life, and watching it literally like consume everything around her was just crazy to watch, because I'm like, why are you going out your way to represent yourself like that? The main one is, I was watching the Drake episode specifically, and she's asking him, like, well, would you smash me? Maybe. Would you? Like nearly like begging, like throwing a bone, like, can you please? Right? And he's like, oh, yeah, would, type of thing. And I'm like, wow, I'm pretty sure she was a mind blogger before this. She has a kid. Is she married? She was married. I said, yeah, no, that's crazy work. That's crazy work on my end. And then he files for divorce, ruins it. She keeps trying to date. She keeps doing the thing. Find your love. Do your thing. And the fact it just kept coming out that you just getting just passed. And I'm like, no, that is bad business. That is such bad business. Oh, and I think it's one of those things where if someone was to give you fame overnight, you wouldn't really know how to act because you didn't really build up the fame to begin with. Because like people forget, that's like the whole point of taking forever to blow up, or the old way of not even social media, like the old way of media, where you were groomed with PR training, you were groomed with knowing how to talk to media, you were groomed to know, okay, these are the type of relationships that I should have, these are the ones that I should have. I should be taking these specific kind of ads for one thing, because I feel like people forget that's a main thing when it comes to this new age, right? Because of, if you are out supporting everything and your image kind of gets washed the longer that you're just randomly picking and choosing what you want to do and what you want to say, it just gets to the point where it's like, well, I not only don't know where to categorize you, but now I don't know if you're good for the brand to begin with, right? Crazy work. I think the craziest video, I almost forgot about the Ryan Garcia vid. Yeah, no, it was wild. It was definitely a long time coming. I'm not gonna lie. And it feels weird that she was like, you know what, I'm done with this podcast, because of like, even after all the controversy, she's definitely still had a lane. She definitely could have went off and started talking about her relationships and all the background secrets and gossip and da-da-da-da. I personally wouldn't recommend it, but you could still build an audience where you would sit down and just yap to yourself. You could do that. And instead being like, you know what? Nah, I'm good off it all. That's a little wild to me. A little facetious. I will not lie. But hey, to each their own. But one thing that I will say, and that's another thing. Even when her views start to tank, she was still able to generate like about 100,000, 90,000 views for every like hour, 2-hour episode. And I'm like, no, that's fantastic, because she was still able to get like crazy guests. I was looking at some of her I was looking at some of her old videos, and I'm thinking to myself, this string of A-list stars is crazy. Like, I remember it was Drake to Yachty to J Balvin to Tyga to Offset was in there, and And then she starts like expanding into these other forms of media and these other like really crazy famous people. Who's that one actor? There's a specific actor that was on there that I said, how do you know them? How do you know them? Jessica Alba. That was the one. I remember seeing the Jessica Alba episode, and I'm thinking to myself, there ain't no way that you got her to pull up. She doesn't go up to nothing. She does not post for nothing. And the fact that you was able to get her off a whim, first of all, who is your PR? I want to get onto your PR. Let me know. I want to eat. Oh. But yeah, no, just the craziest string. Because I'm thinking to myself, who else had such a ridiculous string of guests when you first started your own pod? When you first started your pod? Greedy. And honestly, as I sit back and watch, it kind of reminds me how. As I sit back and watch, kind of reminds me how kind of twisted social media has made like the average individual. Because like if you were to look at her, she seems like literally the average white woman from like not Kentucky, like the average white woman from like a Connecticut or like a Madison, Wisconsin. That's you can see somewhere, you can see where she at type of thing. You see those type of people, and you see them pretty consistently over there. And watching how serious everybody takes social media now always feels so jarring because I remember the Tumblr era. I remember when people were just posting just to post and no one had a semblance of an archive or a semblance of a vibe of what they're trying to show out. And now that everyone's like curating such specific forms of content, and it gets to the point where it's like, oh, you will go to my page for this, you will go to my page for that, you will never see me post this, and you will never see me post that. And the fact that people take themselves so seriously, and it's not even people with like, let's say 15,000 on Instagram, because it's like, fine, you have your niche following, you have your folks that wake up every morning to see what you posted on your story, see if you have a poll up or not, see who wore it better, Shelly or seeing who wore it better between Samantha from Sex and the City or Kylie Jenner's in the last arc of her relationships. You feel me? There's these different levels of people who are highly specific on who they want to be watching. And the fact that you have folks with not even 500 followers behaving the same way is upsetting. Make Instagram fun again. I don't know how I got to there, but make it. That's my main takeaway from this. Oh, sometimes I sit back. I really, to be blessed to be a socialite. That's. I don't want to say that's my goal, but I know that's just a fun existence. You just get to travel all around the world based on the season. You're in Colorado in January. You're in Ibiza in early June. You're in Mykonos late August. Oh, fantastic. That's how it's like the joyous point. But yeah, no, that's my main thing. There ain't much to. I guess goodbye to the very good podcast. Yes, that's my thing. You might not be missed. I will miss that. I will really miss that Yachty episode. That was such a good episode. Damn, I remember watching it with my girl, and I remember watching it with my girl at her parents' house, and we were like, "Dang, Yachty is just quick with it. He's here. Ah, fire! It was fire. It was definitely fire." Which is one thing that I do miss, because of like when you have a host that's very bland, it gives the guest the chance to just go above and beyond with their humor and their own personalities, that I feel like it will be missed. It will be definitely missed. But then again, they could just be very good at their job too. Maybe good.